So we need affordable housing before we can successfully transition young people out of homelessness, and not only for young people, but for their families. That said, if there is housing, um, the kinds of supports that are available, that are offered through youth-specific services often, and that typically goes up to about age 25 or 26, it depends. They have, the kind of wraparound support, so all this lingo that happens in the industry, right? Where like they have someone, an intensive case-based manager. I'm getting the lingo wrong. Nicole probably knows it better than I do, but the people who basically are working with young people in an ongoing way are available, not quite 24/7, but much closer than they would be if they're just, say, going into an office once a week, to help that young person figure out, how they're going to make some income, or help them get onto welfare, which can be incredibly complicated and demoralizing. Help them access the centralized waiting list in Ottawa. Different cities have different systems so that they can become eligible for a rent supplement or an affordable housing supplement. They can help them figure out how, where they're going to get the mental health supports they need, how they're going to register for school, how they're going to access OSAP, which is, the Ontario Student Aid Program, student loans. All of these things are complicated. And if a young person has been disconnected from family and doesn't have someone to walk them through that, and say, again, that many of these young people have come from families which are poor and didn't know how to do that in the first place, they won't have that kind of family knowledge that those of us who come from more middle class, stable family backgrounds can rely on. So, basically, a worker or a team of workers can help that young person put the pieces together. But it takes like a lot of time and a lot of care and attention, just as it does for any young person. Stephen Gates, when he talks about what a young person needs to get out of homelessness, it's like he needs what every young person needs. They need what every young person need. They need someone to help them figure out these systems, to help them, decide between different options, to help them figure out how loans work and all of those pieces. So it's not magic. It's time and energy and care and attention. And that needs resources like that. People are doing that as paid work. And that's happening out of charitable organizations that fundraise their butts off in order to have the money, and also rely on government grants and the like. And so that money also needs to flow into organizations like that to be able to do that work.